A taste of Aesop's fables. Here's another fable that you might not know. Once, there were two travelers on the road between two cities. As they were walking along, one of them spotted a purse that had fallen into a ditch on the side of the road. The man picked it up. It was full of gold. "How lucky I am," he said. The second traveler said, "You should say, 'How lucky we are.' After all, we're companions. We should share it." "No way, pal," the first traveler said. "Despite the fact that we're traveling together, I'm going to keep the money for myself." Just then, they heard people shouting, "Stop, thief!" The travelers saw a group of men coming along the road. They were holding weapons, and they looked angry. The first traveler began to worry. "We'll be in trouble if they find us holding the purse," he said. The second traveler said, "You wouldn't say 'we' originally, so don't start now. You should say, 'I'll be in trouble.'" The moral of this story is, we can't expect to share our misfortunes if we won't share our fortunes too.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
I'm Nikki.
And we are back here with day 2 of our look at the wonderful old stories of Aesop. That's right. Aesop, the Greek slave who wrote many interesting lessons, or many interesting stories, I should say, with good life lessons, good morals to them. Yesterday, we read one of his more famous one about several a couple of different types of insects, right, Nikki?
Yeah, there are ants and a grasshopper. And the ants were working hard while the grasshopper was playing music.
Yes, indeed. And after the winter came, the grasshopper had not collected any food when the ants were hard at work. The grasshopper was hungry, but the ants said to him,
"Go play with your fiddle then."
That's right. We're not going to share your food. While we were collecting food during the summer, you were just messing around with your fiddle, dancing and singing, and not doing the hard, important work you needed to do.
Exactly.
So from that, we learned that ants are not nice. Grasshoppers are really good at playing the violin, or the fiddle, which I did not know. But that's also a good moral there. The moral is, of course, it's great to have fun like the grasshopper once in a while.
Yeah, but you should also work.
Exactly. When it's time to do something important like, collecting enough food to live through the winter, it's time to put down the fiddle, put down the fun stuff, and get to work. Otherwise, once the winter comes, it's too late. So in the same way, it's fun to play video games, but once your math test arrives and you realize you haven't studied, it's too late to study. So yeah, get the hard work done and then enjoy yourself afterwards. All right, let's look at today's lesson. We're going to read another story from Aesop, so let's get into it. And the article begins, "Here's another fable that you might not know." All right, a fable, kind of like a fairy tale, kind of like a myth. These are kind of stories from the past that may not be history. They may not be true or, facts about real people and real things that happened, but they're often things we can also learn something from. So, like a fairy tale or like a life lesson, something like that. So here's another fable, another old story that you might not know. Let's check it out. Once there were two travelers on the road between two cities. Okay, good beginning. So we had two travelers and they're traveling between two cities because that's what travelers would do. Because if you're a traveler, you are, yes, traveling. You are going from one place to another. I mean, you could be walking down the street from your apartment to your home to the nearest restaurant or the nearest convenience store, but generally we use travelers for people who are going longer distances, especially, yes, if you're leaving your home city, getting on a train or a plane or a bus or a boat and going to another land, another country, another city, something like that. But you could also be traveling traveling between your home and your school or your work like you do most days of the week. Generally, though, you're on the road, you're going somewhere, and not somewhere close, probably somewhere with a bit of distance between where you start and where you finish. So, for example, we could say thousands of travelers were stuck at the airport when the snowstorm hit the city. And I'm sure most of those travelers were feeling a bit upset at that time.
那在看完上一次蚱蜢跟蚂蚁的故事之后，我们今天要再来看一则寓言。Fable 是名词，指的是寓言故事。那今天没有动物，则是两位旅人。Traveler 是名词，指的是旅人或是旅客。那 travel 这个动词呢是旅游。So when you travel, you make a journey. Usually it's a long distance.
Exactly right. So these travelers, since it's long ago, were probably walking or riding horses or something like that. They were going on a long journey, a long voyage between two cities. As they were walking along, one of them spotted a purse that had fallen into a ditch on the side of the road. Okay, well, that's a little unusual to spot something like that. When you spot something, you see something, your eyes notice it, and your brain goes, hey, that's something. And it's probably something that's a little unusual, that's hard to see, that's not common, that was, not something you expected to see, kind of a surprise. You might spot a new restaurant in your neighborhood. Hey, there's a new business there. It wasn't there last week. I just spotted that. You might spot a friend in a big crowd. You're downtown. Hey, look over there across the street. It's Bob and Susan. We just saw them. We picked them out. Our brains and our eyes were able to work very hard to find something in a big group. We've spotted it. We've seen it. And it wasn't easy to see. So they spotted this thing on the ground, probably small, maybe like a little brown leather bag or something like that, a small purse, a small container with money in it. That wasn't easy to see, right? And it was in a ditch on the side of the road, which makes it even harder to see. Before we get to ditch, let's look at our example sentence for spot. Ooh, yeah, here's one. It's hard to spot a leopard when it's hiding in the trees. Oh, absolutely. It'd be hard to spot a green frog hiding in a forest, too. It's hard to see that with your eyes. Or it's hard to spot a brown purse lying in a ditch, because a ditch is a hole in the ground, and the ground is often kind of brown too, isn't it? But a ditch is a little different from a hole. You might think of a dog digging a hole, or pirates digging a hole to put their treasure in, or someone on a garden digging a hole to put in a flower. A ditch is more like a long hole, all right? So a hole that kind of runs in a line in some kind of way. If you think of the kind of things you might see workmen digging on the side of the road, and they put power lines or water pipes or something in that, and it runs all the way down the road and turns the corner and goes into the buildings. That long hole, we could call that a ditch, or maybe a trench as well. So imagine a long hole, or a hole more in the form of a line or a snake or something like that. The workers spent the morning digging a ditch, and the afternoon laying a long pipe in it. So it sounds like someone is going to have water in their new home.
Yeah, so they saw the purse in the ditch, and the man picked it up.
Oh, yes.
And it was full of gold.
It was full of gold. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing thing to spot. And then it says, how lucky I am, he said. So this man, the one man, remember there's two, but the one who picked it up was feeling very lucky to find all this gold.
Exactly. 那 spot 是动词，在这边是发现或是注意到。When you spot something, you see it, you notice it. 那所以在这边课文的意思就是说，这两个旅客走在路上，其中有一个人发现了路边水沟里有一个钱包。那 spot 当名词的话呢，则会是圆点或者是斑点的意思。Ditch 是名词，指的是水沟，通常是路边或者是田边那种用来排水的水沟。那如果 ditch 用来当动词的话呢，它就会是抛弃或者是丢弃。If you ditch something, you get rid of it, you throw it away.
Yes, exactly right. But they're not going to ditch this purse full of gold, are they? Absolutely not. So wait, the first guy finds it, picks it up, and says, how lucky I am. Interesting. And as we read on, the second traveler said, you should say how lucky we are. After all, we're companions. We should share it. Oh, I see where this problem is going to go. So this second guy is like, wait, you didn't find it. We found it. We are traveling. We are going the same way. We are friends. If we find something, we share it. 50-50, half for you, half for me. That is what his friend or his companion said.
那这个捡到钱包的人他就说哇我好幸运，可是呢另外一个人跟他说你应该要说我们好幸运才对吧，毕竟我们是同伴我们应该要共享。 After all 这个片语指的是毕竟的意思，那 you use it as an additional information to support what you have said earlier。 那 companion 是动词，指的是同伴或是伙伴。 A companion is a friend, a mate, a person that you spend a lot of time with.So in this case, these two are traveling companions. 他们两个是旅伴。
They are indeed. No way, pal, says the first traveler said. Oh, I'm not sure they're going to be companions for much longer. The first traveler is like, I disagree about sharing it. No way, pal, the first traveler said, not in a friendly way. Despite the fact that we're traveling together, I'm going to keep the money for myself.He's kind of thinking, my eyes saw it. I was the first one to say, hey, look, money. So I'm going to keep the money. I'm not going to share it with you. And he calls his companion there pal. Now, pal is normally a close friend, right? He's my pal. He's my best friend, my best buddy, my best pal. But depending on how we use it, it can also mean person in an unfriendly way. If someone is kind of rude to you and you don't know them, you might say, hey, pal. You might also say, hey, buddy. Hey, dude. It's kind of how you say it. In a friendly way, he's a really good pal of mine. He's your friend. If someone is pushing in front of you, hey, watch out, pal. That's kind of like dude or mister. It's, instead of calling them a bad name, you're not going to call them, excuse me, sir, right? I mean, you could, but if you say it in a way that sounds angry, it probably means you're unhappy with this person. For example, hey, pal, you can't park your car here. It's illegal.I would call the person John or Dave or Brian, but I don't know his name, and I'm not happy, so I'm just going to say, hey, pal, watch out.
好，那在这边我们有看到了今天的文法 Let's take a look. 这边我们看到的文法 Despite the fact that 尽管或是虽然，要注意到的是 despite 或者是 in spite of 都属于都是介系词片语，也就是说它们后面应该要接一个名词或是动名词，但是如果想要接一个子句的话呢，就要加上 the fact that， 那这样才能接上一个句子。所以课文这一句我们可以把它改成 Despite traveling together, I'm going to keep the money for myself， 又或者是 In spite of being traveling companions, I'm going to keep the money for myself。 那刚刚 Mike 解释到的 pal 是名词，指的是朋友，或者是有时候会用来叫一个你不太喜欢的人，一个讨厌的家伙。So for example, it can be, hey, you're my best pal, you're my best friend. But it can also be, pal, stop doing that, you're being annoying.Exactly.
A lot of it is in how the person says it and, of course, what the situation is. All right, back to the article. Just then, it says, at that moment, as they were starting to argue about who the money belongs to, just then they heard people shouting, "Stop, thief!"Oh, interesting. So stop thief is something you say when you want someone to stop because they are a thief. So if someone grabs your money and starts running down the street with it or something, and you want other people to come to your help and pay attention, you say, "Stop, thief! Stop that man! He grabbed my phone," or something like that. So here's these people shouting, "Stop, thief! There's a crime. Someone stole something, maybe a bag of money, I'm not sure." The travelers saw a group of men coming along the road. So they found some money. They're arguing about who's going to keep it, but maybe it's not theirs to keep. Yeah.
所以正当他们两个人还在那边吵到底钱要归谁的时候，就有一群人叫住他们，认定他们是小偷。Just then 这个片语指的是就在此刻，也就是说他们还在争吵争执的这刻，就有人叫住他们。
So they were holding weapons and they looked angry. Ooh, okay. So this is kind of like the local police, or at least the local angry people who've lost some money.
Yeah.
Or had money stolen from them and they're ready to get it back. That's why they have their weapons with them and also why they look angry. They're not happy. Someone stole their money and they want it back and they have weapons to get it with because a weapon is a tool for violence, basically, in the same way that if you want to fix a table, you might have a hammer and saw. If you're trying to hurt people, you might have a knife or a sword or a gun. That's what weapons are. Soldiers have weapons, police have weapons, action heroes in movies often have weapons. It could be something really old like a bow and arrow or a spear, or it could be something really new like a fighter plane, a bomb, a nuclear missile, or just your average gun. But these are all weapons. These are things that we use to do violence, to hurt people, to fight with each other, and whatnot. For example, when she saw a robber climbing through her living room window, Bernice screamed and then grabbed a lamp to use as a weapon. Yeah, anything, I guess, could be a weapon. If you're Bruce Lee, your hands and feet are weapons.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Even sometimes words can be weapons.
Words can be weapons too, although they probably won't end up with you in the hospital bleeding.
那这群人手上持有武器，而且看起来超生气。Weapon 是名词，指的是武器。A weapon is an item used in wars or used to hurt people. So for example, guns, knives, or bombs.
Yes, they are. Or in this case, probably swords and spears, because remember, these stories are from a long time ago. The first traveler, as they see these guys with weapons coming towards them, the first traveler began to worry. Remember, this is the guy who found the money. We'll be in trouble if they find us holding the purse, he said. Yeah, they might think you were the ones who stole it and not just the ones who found it by the side of the road.
所以呢，这个刚刚捡到钱包的第一位旅客就开始有点担心，他就说：“如果他们发现我们手上拿着他们的钱包，我们就惨了。”
The second traveler said, "You wouldn't say we originally, so don't start now. You should say I'll be in trouble." Ooh, okay, so this is the second traveler. Remember the one who wanted to share the money? But the first one was like, "Nah, we're not sharing it." So now the second one's saying, well, you didn't want to share the money, so now you're not going to share the trouble that you're in if they think you stole it. Well, I guess that's fair. The second traveler said you wouldn't say we originally. At first, when you found the money at the beginning of all this, or originally, you didn't say we. It was all about me, me, me. I found the money. It's my money, me, me, me. So don't start now. Don't start sharing the money now that it could be in trouble. You should say I'll be in trouble and not we will be in trouble, because originally it was all I, me, my money, and now you want to share? Nah, that's not going to happen. Originally means at first, in the first place, at the beginning. Things might have changed over time. Things might end up very, very different, but originally at the beginning, when this all started, that's the way it was. Here's an example. Originally, we wanted to go to Peru, but then we realized how expensive it would be to get there, so we went to Penghu.
结果呢，这个第二位旅客他就说：“哈哈哈，谁叫你刚刚不想把钱分给我，所以你惨了，不是我们惨了。” Originally 呢，是副词，指的是起初、原来 ，in the beginning. So you use originally to state that something has changed or happened.
Exactly. So back to the story. Well, the moral of this story is we can't expect to share our misfortunes if we won't share our fortunes too. Yes, very good lesson. You can't expect to share your bad luck if you don't share your good luck as well.
Fortune 指的是兴衰或是财富，那在前面加上一个 prefix miss 就成了不幸。That is to say, we can't be selfish. We have to take the good with the bad.
Very good point and a very good moral. We have a chat question just before we say goodbye. Do you know any other famous fables by Aesop? What are they and what are their morals?
I know one that's about a lion and a rat. Do you know that one?
The Lion and the Rat. Is this where the rat helps the lion?
Exactly. So the rat was in trouble at first, but then the lion freed the rat.
Yes.
And then it was the lion who got in trouble, and the rat saved him.
There you go. So even though the lion could have eaten the rat, he was kind, and in the end, the rat saved his life. Another good moral, one of the many hundreds, maybe even thousands. He wrote a lot of stories. So do yourself a favor, look up some Aesop tales. They're entertaining, and they will leave you with a good life lesson, just like all our articles. We'll see you back here sometime soon, everyone. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Traveler. About 1 million travelers pass through the city's airport and its main train station every day. Spot. I was walking in the woods yesterday, and I spotted a deer. It was so cute. Ditch. Farmers often dig ditches around their fields to prevent heavy rains from hurting their plants. Pal. When Lucy brought a puppy home, her husband wasn't happy. But now, the two have become pals. You need to watch where you're going, pal, because you almost knocked me over. Weapon. The police officers found the weapon the man had used to attack the woman at his apartment. Originally. Olivia originally planned to visit her grandparents, but she decided to go to the museum instead.
智慧小补帖
Fable. Companion.